Hello and welcome back to the Tech Blackboard. Well, today is our part 9 of our AZ-900 real exam question and answer series. As you can see that I have already updated the series with some of the latest questions. So in part 9, we are going to cover 15 very important questions from exam point of view, starting from question number 116 to question number 130. For those who are new to this channel, I want to say that we have already covered 115 questions spanning across 8 parts. If you missed watching any of those parts, make sure to watch them all before you give your AZ-900 exam, because each question in these parts will elevate your scores in AZ-900 certification. The links for all of these parts are now appearing in the I button on the top right corner and also available in the description box below. Friends, I'm sure that all of you are liking this video series on AZ-900 real exam question and answers. Many of you have been asking me how many more parts in this AZ-900 real exam question and answer series will come. I understand that many of my viewers are preparing for AZ-900 exam and would like to schedule their exam post this series. Friends, the current plan is to release as many as 150 questions so that I can cover the length and breadth of AZ-900. Thus, you can expect that this series will have 11 parts in total. Besides this, I will bring a bonus part where I will take all of your questions that I receive in all 11 parts. So be ready and put all of your questions and doubt in the comment section below and I will cover them in the bonus part. To all my viewers, once again, thank you so much for all the love that you have given to this channel. I request you to hit that like button so that YouTube algorithm can send these videos to a larger number of audience. For those who are new to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's begin our part 9 with question number 116. The question says that a company ABC uses management groups to manage resources in your Azure tenant more efficiently. They want user alpha to be able to manage user access to Azure resources. You need to determine which role-based access control RBAC role user alpha should be added. Your solution should follow the principle of least privilege. To which role should you add user alpha? Should it be user access administrator? Should it be owner or management group contributor? Or should it be just contributor? It's important that you understand the questions very well and what is the exact ask from this user alpha. It's mentioned that user alpha should be able to manage user access to Azure resources. So he just needs to manage resources. He does not need to create or do other things with the resources. Thus, we can say the contributor and management group contributor are already ruled out. So the correct answer for this question is user access administrator. Talking about all these roles, this is the Microsoft page where you can get all the details about all these classic subscription administrator roles, Azure roles and Azure AD roles. If you scroll a little on this page, then you will reach to the section which talks about Azure roles. Here you can read that Azure RBAC is an authorization system built in Azure Resource Manager that provides fine-grained access management to Azure groups. As I already mentioned that the contributor, it can create and manage all type of resources. It can also create a new tenant in Azure Active Directory but it cannot grant access to the other user. However, our requirement is a user that can manage all the Azure resources. And here you can read more on user access administrator. The user access administrator, it can manage user access to Azure resource. That's why this is the answer that we have chosen in our question number 116. Now you might be wondering that why I have not chosen owner. That could also be an answer. So the reason being because in the question you can read that user should follow the principle of least privilege. It's very important to focus here, least privilege. So we don't want to give our user more access or more power than it is needed. And that's the reason to choose user access administrator. Moving on with question number 117. The question says that which Azure service should you use to store certificates? Should it be Azure Security Center or Azure Storage Account, or should it be Azure Key Vault or Azure Information Protection? The correct answer for question number 117 is Azure Key Vault. Now here I am on the Microsoft page that talks more about Azure Key Vaults. Here you can read on the very first line, it says that Azure Key Vault is a cloud service for securely storing and accessing secrets. A secret is anything that you want to tightly control access to, such as API keys, passwords, certificates, and cryptographic keys. I hope you have already noted the word certificate here. And that's exactly our question is also asking. We need to store certificates, so we have chosen Azure Key Vault. Just to increase your knowledge on other services as well, Azure Security Service, that's actually set of tools for monitoring and managing security for virtual machines and other cloud computing resources within Microsoft Azure Cloud. Coming to the Azure Storage Account contains Azure storage objects including blobs, files, shares, queues, tables and disks and etc. So this is what Azure Storage Account is meant for. Then coming to the Azure Information Protection, this one is a cloud-based solution that enables organizations to discover, classify, protect documents or email by applying labels to the content. So I hope you got a fair idea about all the other services as well, besides the answer that we chose. Coming to the question number 180. This one is asking which service provides serverless computing in Azure. Is it Azure Virtual Machine, Azure Functions, Azure Storage Account, or Azure Container Service? I'm really sure all of those who have covered all the 8 earlier parts can answer this question very easily. The correct answer for this question is Azure Functions. If you want to learn more about Azure Functions, then this is the Microsoft page where you can find all the details. However, just to read the first line, it says that Azure Functions is a serverless solution that allows you to write less code, maintain less infrastructure, and save cost. You already noted that this is a serverless solution. Coming to the question number 119. This question says an Azure service is available to the customers when it is it private preview, public preview, development, or enterprise agreement EA subscription. So when exactly any Azure service is available for customers? So the correct answer for this one is public preview. Only once the service has come to the public preview, it will be available for customers like you and me to use it. To all my viewers, if you want a PDF version of the PPT that I'm using in part 9, then you have to tell me the answers for the following questions. You have to give me the answers for question number 119, question number 123, and question number 130 in the comment section below. All of you who will give correct answers for all 3 questions will get a PDF version of part 9 PPT. Coming to our question number 120. This one is a yes/no type of question. Let's read the first statement. It says that data is stored in Azure Storage Account automatically has at least 3 copies. Now, just to tell you more about data replication, there are actually a lot of options available in Azure for data replication, such as LRS, ZRS, GRS, or GARS, and probably many more. LRS is the minimum of them, and it's also known as locally redundant storage, and the data is replicated in this one synchronously 3 times within the primary region. So that's why this statement is yes. Moving on with the second statement, we have all data that is copied to an Azure storage account is backed up automatically to another Azure data center. The correct answer for this one is no. That's not true because it's not automatically set. However, if you want, you can manually configure it. But in this question, it asks and stress upon automatically. Thus, the correct answer is no. Now coming to the third statement, which says an Azure storage account can contain up to 2 TB of data and up to 1 million files. The correct answer for this one is no, that's not correct. The limits as I'm recording this video is much higher than this one. If you want to drill down more into Azure storage account, then this is the Microsoft page that you can read upon. All the links that I'm showing you in this video will be shared in the description box below. Then quickly jumping to question number 121. This is again yes/no kind of question. Reading out the first statement, we have if you have Azure resources deployed to every region, you can implement availability zone in all regions. The correct answer for this one is no. It's not true that all Azure region support availability zones. So there are some regions that do not support availability zones. However, they are very less, but yes, there are. So that's why the reason for choosing a no. Then we have second statement which says only virtual machines that run Windows servers can be created in availability zone. Of course, by now you know that this answer is no. We also have support for Linux machines as well. Then we have third statement which says availability zones are used to replicate data and applications to multiple regions. Once again reiterating that availability zones, as the name also suggests, are there to build high availability for your applications. They are not used to replicate data. Thus the correct answer for this one is no. Now coming to question number 122. This one says that you plan to deploy a critical line of business application to Azure. The application will run on Azure Virtual Machine. You need to recommend a deployment solution for the application. The solution must provide a guaranteed availability of 99.99%. What is the minimum number of virtual machines and minimum number of availability zones you should recommend for the deployment? To answer, select appropriate option in the answer area. To simplify the question is just asking you that how many virtual machines and how many availability zones should you deploy if you want to achieve an availability of 99.99%. The correct answer for this one is you need to have at least 2 virtual machines and you need to have at least 2 availability zones. If you are interested to know more about regions and availability zones, then this is a good page to start with. Now coming to our question number 123. This one says that your company hosts an accounting application named App1 that is used by all the customers of the company. App1 has low usage during the first 3 weeks of each month and very high usage during the last week of the month. Which benefit of Azure Cloud Service supports cost management for this type of usage pattern? Now, as you read through the questions, you can already understand that for the first 3 weeks, we have a very high usage of the App1. However, when it comes to the last week, then the usage is a low. So I hope you have noted that sometimes the usage can go up while the other times it can come down. So you need to tell one cloud service that can support this kind of scaling up and scaling down. So the correct answer for this question is elasticity. We have talked about elasticity in our previous videos as well. But for those who are new here, I can just tell that elasticity is the ability to quickly expand or decrease computer processing, memory, and storage to meet changing demands. And that's why elasticity is the correct option. Coming to question number 124. This one says you need to identify which blades in Azure portal must be used to perform following tasks. View security recommendations, monitor the health of Azure services, browse available virtual machines images. So this is the answer area and you can see there are 3 sections and you have to select options from each of these drop down menus so that you can perform these tasks. So let's come to the first part. So the first task is view security recommendation. Should you go to the monitor blade or subscription or marketplace or advisor blade so that you can view security recommendation. The correct answer for this one is advisor. Moving on with the second task, it's given that you want to monitor health of Azure services. So what should you select? The correct answer is monitor, of course. You have to select monitor blade if you want to monitor the health of Azure services. Then the third task is that you want to browse all the virtual machines images. So which Azure blade should you go where you can browse all the virtual machine images? The correct answer for this one is marketplace. Just to give you an analogy of marketplace, it is something like App Store in Apple phones or Google Play Store in Android. So where you can go and browse and download or work with the different applications. And in case of Azure Marketplace, you can go there and browse available virtual machine images. Now here is our question number 125. A yes/no kind of question. Let's read the first statement. The first statement says that Azure Monitor can monitor the performance of on-premise computers. Now here I am on the Microsoft documentation for Azure Monitor. This one says that Azure Monitor helps you maximize the availability and performance of your application and services. It delivers a comprehensive solution for collecting, analyzing, acting on telemetry from your cloud and on-premise environment. So I hope you got your answer that yes, Azure Monitor can be used for on-premise environment as well. Thus, the correct answer for this one is yes. Moving on with the second statement, this says Azure Monitor can send alerts to Azure Active Directory security group. The correct answer for this is no, because Azure Monitor, though it can be used to create alerts, but it cannot send alerts to Azure Active Directory security groups. Moving on with the third statement, this one is Azure Monitor can trigger alerts based on data in Azure Log Analytics workspace. The correct answer for this one is yes. Yes, Azure Monitor can trigger alerts based on data in Azure Log Analytics workspace. Now quickly moving to our question number 126. In this one, it's given that you need to manage Azure by using Azure Cloud Shell. Which portal icon should you select? To answer, select appropriate icon in the answer area. Now you are given a screenshot from the Azure portal and there are a lot of icons given here, and out of these icons you have to tell clicking on which you can activate Azure Cloud Shell. The correct answer for this question is this icon here. You can see this small icon that looks like a prompt. If you click this icon in the Azure portal, this will activate Azure Cloud Shell. Here I am on the cloud portal. Now you can see this icon here. This was the different icons that were given in the question as well. Now if I will just zoom a little, then you can see this prompt. If you click on this, now you can see that terminal window is getting activated, and this is where you run your cloud shell. So now you can see that it's connecting to the terminal, and there are two types of scripts that you can use. One is PowerShell and the other one is Bash. So once it gets connected, then you will receive a prompt like this, and here you can run your Azure Cloud Shell in PowerShell or in Bash mode. So I hope now you understand which icon to click when you want to work with Azure Cloud Shell. Coming to question number 127 of our part 9. So question number 27 gives you some statements that are related to Azure DevOps, and you have to tell yes and no for them. So let's read out the first statement. The first statement says that Azure DevOps services allow developers to deploy or update applications to Azure using continuous integration, continuous delivery, CI/CD pipelines. The correct answer for this statement is yes. Yes, of course, you can use Azure DevOps services for CI/CD pipeline. Now here I am on the Microsoft page that gives a lot of details about Azure DevOps. So if you will scroll down a little on this page, then you can see that pipelines are used for CI/CD on any platform. And that's exactly why we have chosen yes here. Moving on with the second statement, this one says that Azure DevOps Services includes a Git repository for developers to store code. The correct answer for this one is yes, of course. Coming on to the same page of Azure DevOps, and in this we have the section which talks about Azure repos. Using Azure repos, you get unlimited cloud-hosted private Git repos and collaborate to build better code with pull requests and advanced file management. And that's why we have chosen yes here. Moving on with the third statement, we have Azure DevOps Service can be used to build and host web apps. We have just seen that Azure DevOps is a service that is used to build CI/CD pipeline. It also helps you to have a Git repository. However, it has nothing to do with building a web app. So the correct answer for this statement is no. Coming to question number 128. This one is a drag and drop kind of question. So here you are given some of the definitions on the right hand side corner, and on the left hand side you are given with some of the Azure services that you have to match off with these definitions. So let's read out the first definition. The first definition says an integrated solution for the deployment of code. We just saw in question number 127 the service for integrated solution for deployment of code is Azure DevOps. So this is the correct answer for this statement. Then moving on with our second definition, this one says a tool that provides guidance and recommendations to improve an Azure environment. The correct answer for this one is Azure Advisor. Moving on with the third statement, we have a simplified tool to build artificial intelligence applications. The correct Azure service that helps us build AI application is Azure Cognitive Services. Moving on with the fourth statement, this one says monitors web application. The correct answer for this one is Azure Application Insights. Moving on with question number 129. But before that, friends, sometimes you might notice that there are repeat in questions. Please understand that this is done for a purpose, as repetition will engrave the answers in your mind and you will be easily able to recall them while you are giving the exam. With that, now let's read the question number 129. It says you plan to implement an Azure database solution. You need to implement a database solution that meet following requirements. Can add data concurrently from multiple regions and can store JSON documents. Which database service should you deploy? Now here you can see that Microsoft has given almost all the database connected services to confuse you a lot. But concentrate on the keywords so that you can find the answer easily. Now here the keywords are that you can add data concurrently from multiple regions. That's the important keyword, that multiple regions are needed. The other hint Microsoft gives you that you should be able to store JSON document. With those two hints, you can easily identify the answer. The correct answer for this question is Azure Cosmos DB. Just to tell you a little bit more about Cosmos DB. So Cosmos DB is a globally distributed multi-model database service. Also, Cosmos DB is a great way to store unstructured data such as JSON files. So that's why we have chosen Cosmos DB as an answer. Friends, sometimes these questions will get really tricky. As you saw in this question, a lot of services are given which can confuse you because all of them are somehow related to the database only. Please try to catch important keywords from the question and then using those try to answer. If you want to read more about Azure Cosmos DB, then this is the Microsoft documentation page where you can come and start your journey with Azure Cosmos DB. The links, as always, will be provided in the description box. Okay, with that, let's move to question number 130. This will be the last question for our part 9 of our AZ-900 real exam question and answer series. Reading it out, it says you have an Azure environment that contains multiple Azure virtual machines. You plan to implement a solution that enables the client computers on your on-premise network to communicate to Azure virtual machine. You need to recommend which Azure resource must be created for planned solution. Which two Azure resource should you include in the recommendation? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Here you have to keep in mind that you have to choose two Azure resource. If you only choose one, then a mark will be deducted from your score. The correct answer for this question is option A, a virtual network gateway, and option E, a gateway subnet. Now here is the Microsoft page that talks about connect an on-premise network to Microsoft Azure Virtual Network. And this is the exact requirement that we also have in our question. So it's a long page. You can read more on this page and understand the reasoning behind the answers that I chose. I hope you liked another set of the latest questions from Microsoft AZ-900 which we covered in this part 9. I will see you in the next part.
If this video has added any value in your learning, a like and subscribe is highly appreciated. Share this video in your family and friends to spread and expand their learning. Your comments and feedback give me a chance to interact with you, and I look forward for them. We will meet again in our next video. Till then, stay fit, keep learning, and thanks for watching.